Boy, oh boy, am I disgusted. So, if you haven't heard the story already, there is a story where a guy decides to bust the windows out of a nail salon because he's tired of the way that the people at the nail salons, plural, treat black women. So his way of responding to what he felt like was, what many people felt like was disrespect from the owner and the workers of the nail salon, his way to respond to that was to bust the windows out with bricks. He went inside, told him he's going to bust the windows out with bricks. He ends up doing it. He ends up being arrested. He ends up raising on GoFundMe or something like that. He ends up raising $30,000 because people thought this is a noble thing for him to do. And this is what I don't get about social justice warriors. I can understand wanting to stand up for someone who you feel as though is being disrespected or whatever. When you follow the story, when you listen to the people involved talk, the woman involved, the woman who's like the subject of the quote-unquote abuse or whatever, you talk to the man who bust the windows, you talk to other people who kind of were rallying and protesting outside the store and that sort of thing. And what I don't understand, I understand the passion of, hey, there's an injustice, there's someone being treated wrong. I want to teach someone a lesson. I want to stand up for them. I get that. I understand that. But what I don't understand is that kind of passion, that kind of energy is never directed towards the things that cause the most damage in the black community. It's always directed. It comes out when race is involved. So I'm listening to this guy, and I saw the video. I saw a video on this yesterday, and I can't remember where I saw it at. But then I just saw ABL, Anthony Brian Logan, cover this on his channel. And I'll leave a link to his video. He covered it in detail, and I'm not going to go into detail about what happened. Right? You can check out his video. I just want to talk about what I usually talk about on my channel: mentality, culture, and hypocrisy. Right? That's what I want to talk about. Now, when you watch the guy who threw the bricks through the window talk, and you listen to him, it's like, hey, I'm tired of black women being disrespected. It's time to, this isn't the first time that these people have disrespected black women. This isn't the only place. I'm looking out for my community. Now, he's talking about a nail salon. He's talking about the way that this particular business or businesses treat the black women in his neighborhood. Here's the thing. If a business is not treating you right, how does that make it okay to bust out their windows with bricks? How does that make it okay? This same kind of mentality is why black people kill each other all the time. Because you have this idea that if someone offends me, someone wrongs me, I can do whatever I want. And they literally think this was a good thing. They think this was a good thing. So let me ask you, if that was a black nail shop owner, if it wasn't an Asian, if it was a black person, would you still have done that to their windows? Would it still be okay? If my neighbor disrespects me, or if I feel as though he disrespects me, because there is a difference between the two, do I have the right to go bust his windows? Yes or no? You got to be consistent here. If someone is being wronged, if someone is being disrespected, and it's okay for them to go bust their windows, then logically, if you wrong someone, or if someone feels as though you wronged them, it's okay for them to come bust your windows. This is what I'm talking about. Nobody would accept that. Nobody will be okay with that. None of those people who were okay with this man's actions would accept that if it was applied to them. And this is why we say, can you be consistent? You cannot have a standard for other people that you wouldn't have for yourself. I just don't understand. I see this time and time again. They really think this isn't a power move by the black community. You know what a power move by the black community would be? It would be to stop going to that business. There's a business that doesn't value black people, and that sort of thing. Don't go there. Just don't go there. Go to the shop next to it. Go somewhere else. That's all you got to do. That speaks volumes. That's empowerment. Busting their windows and that sort of stuff. Guess what? They're going to have people lined up outside there tomorrow, the day after, the weekend coming up. Their business is going to thrive. Only way you're going to stop their business, and I got a feeling people are going to do this, is those people in that community are probably going to harass any black people that decide to still go there. And they'll confront them and they'll harass them. Say, why do you still go to this? I know it. This is how liberals operate. Liberals don't like you to have your own mind, your own opinion. Liberals feel as though because they're outraged about something, you must be outraged about it too. And if you're not outraged in the way that they are, then you are morally inferior to them. And as a black man, I'll just tell you, they'll look at you like you're not black. You're not woke. You don't feel the struggle. You don't feel the struggle that we're going through, so you're not one of us. This is what we hear all the time as conservatives. And I just don't understand it. When I'm listening to him talk about how black women are disrespected by nail salons, you know what I immediately thought of? Black music. Black music. And the reason why I thought of that is not to say like, well, hey, I'm not saying, hey, it's okay for these nailery workers to disrespect black people because black music is disrespectful. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if your motive was, I'm upset at the disrespect, then logically, you would expect that to carry over into other areas. If that was truly the motivation. Like, for example, I'm gonna give you another example. If I hate rape, right? So, rape is a terrible thing. Rape is a terrible thing, regardless of who it happens to. If I beat up someone because I say, hey, he's a rapist, right? And then that guy's sister gets raped by someone else, and then I'm like, oh well, he deserved to go through that because he's a bad guy himself. Then I can't say I'm anti-rape because I'm okay when it happens to certain people. This is how a lot of people operate. They'll say they're against violence. They'll say they're against this. They're against oppression. They're against racism. But when those things happen to someone that they don't like, they don't care. So therefore, it's not that you're against rape or violence or oppression. You just don't like it when it happens to someone that you care about. There's a big difference there. And the reason why that's important is because people don't understand that. And as a result, they end up perpetuating the same disgusting behavior and rhetoric that they claim that they are fighting against. This is exactly what liberals do. This is exactly why Antifa, who claims to be anti-fascist, will attack anybody who disagrees with them. It's why they say they're fighting against Nazis, but they act like Nazis. It's how people that say that they're against racism are the most racist people you'll run into. It's So, if a person is, if you are against black women being disrespected to the point where you want to pick up bricks and destroy someone's business, what do you say when your homies talk about women the way their homies talk about women? What do you do when you hear music that disrespects black women? Because that's pretty much, black music is the worst. What do you do? Do you listen to that music yourself? What do you do when you hear people listening to that music? Do you say something to them? Like, how does this actually play out in real life? Do you disrespect women yourself when you get angry? Black women, your sisters, your black queens. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of guys, and not everybody, obviously. There's a lot of guys who'll be like in the DMs, they'll be in Facebook groups, and you know, they'll be in public talking about black queens and, you know, black goddesses and all this stuff. But you talk to them in private, they don't have a high view of black women. Some of them, they just say that stuff to get laid. Some of them, they just say that stuff because they feel as though that's what they're supposed to say. I know a guy, I remember this one time, I'll never forget this. I was in a couple of woke groups back in the day, back in my woke days. And there was, as usual, if you go into any black group on Facebook, just about, especially one that's supposed to be woke, you're going to see the men and the women bashing each other. It's sad. It's funny, but it's sad at the same time. So this guy was saying all this stuff publicly about women and how the black men need to do right and all this stuff. Man, I can't remember what it was about, but we got into a private conversation like in Instant Messenger, and this dude was like, "Oh yeah, you know how women is, you know how black women are," and I'm just like, "Really?" But you in the group saying all this stuff and you arguing with other men. It's a big fraud. Big fraud. There's a lot of people like that. But anyway, if black people value black people so much that they're willing to go to such extremes, then what do you do with drug dealers and thugs that are in the neighborhood? What do you say to them? Do you confront them because of what they do to the black community? Or do you hang out with them? You give them a fist bump when you see them. You tell them stay safe. And you stand out there and you watch them sell drugs. You see them setting up trap houses. And you don't say anything. But then when a white man comes along, or an Asian man or whatever comes along, you feel as though, oh, you got to protect the black community. I see this all the time, and it's so frustrating. This person might cause an accident. It's so frustrating. And it's like, it's not really about what they say it's about. It's about who does it that they have a problem with. Now, I don't know this person who threw these bricks from a can of paint. I don't know what his life is like in terms of activism and that sort of thing, and his personal conduct. What I'm pointing out is, when I see people screaming the loudest about black power or black rights or anything along those lines, it's never directed towards the elephant in the room. It's never directed towards blacks ourselves, who have more control over how our communities are than anyone else. Nobody has more control over what happens in the black community than the black community. And yet, when things fall short or when things happen in the black community, I see the anger and the frustration directed towards outsiders. Now, I'm not saying that outsiders can't have an influential role and a detrimental influential role. But what I'm saying is, I just don't understand how I see this time and time again. There are some really, really bad things affecting our community that we have control over, that we can change. Particularly how we treat each other. Because like I said, that same mentality of, I'm disrespected, so I'm going to bust your store windows. You don't think that people who are okay with that don't treat each other like that? Do you think all of a sudden that when they're in that moment of passion or rage or whatever, that they just turn and say, look, you know, peace and greetings, my black brother. You know, let's talk this out. Let's smoke and discuss this, or whatever else that people say. No, they don't do that. They don't do that at all. They respond with the same primal lack of self-control and anger that causes other races to stereotype us. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, violence is not the only way to respond to something. Especially, you're talking about a business. You want to hurt a business, just don't go there. Why is that so hard? Just don't go there. Why does it have to be an emotional response? I don't get it. But again, you saw every week on my timeline, I see 53 people shot in Chicago and over the weekend, and 20 people shot in 4 hours, and you know, some innocent guy was shot during a stick up in the hood, or some kid got hit by a stray bullet in the hood somewhere. And you don't get that same kind of anger that you get if a white man just said something wrong. You'll get more people angry at the white man who just said something wrong to a black person, or maybe didn't even say anything wrong, but people think he said something wrong, than you will a black person actually taking another black life. I'm telling you, the anger is like tenfold more when it's someone of the other race that could be doing something significantly less. And until people acknowledge that, nothing will never change. You can be as mad as you want in other races, but if your own race ain't doing right, what are you changing? You're not changing anything. Blaming all the problems on other races, blaming all the problems on the white man, blaming all the problems on the government. Meanwhile, black people shoot each other to death in the streets. They stab each other. They rob each other. And you know what even black people say. You if you make it and you come back to the hood, you're going to get got. You're going to get got. You're going to get robbed. There's going to be somebody that's going to feel the need to humble you, even though you made it. You got what they wanted, but someone's going to be jealous of you. They're going to try to take it from you. So that's my video for today. It's just, once again, you see passion and rage and action when it's a non-black person who does something, but something less than what black people do to each other all the time, and then we just accept it. How can you expect other races to respect your lives and value black lives and all that when black people don't do it themselves? And that's a logical question. And if you're of the mindset that it's okay to lash out with violence and vandalism because you feel disrespected, then how can you tell anyone else that they ought not do that to your neighbor or to you? You can't. Not while being intellectually honest. And this is why the hood is the way it is. People do as they see fit. There's no respect for the law. There's no respect for decency. It's all, I feel this way, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to act. And then bam, look at our communities now. They're all ruined because people do that kind of stuff. Look, please share this video. I know there's a million of y'all that's going to disagree with me on this. Write in the comments. Give me a logical reason why you disagree with me if you do. And if you do agree with me, please like this video, share it, support the channel. This is Logical Faith, because my faith is logical and it's consistent. Peace.